Hi book friends, I'm back with another Victober vlog. I'm still reading Shirley. It's Wednesday the 27th, I think, today. The kids spent the night last night, my niece and nephew, and played with them a bit this morning, but before the little one was up, I read about 30 pages or so in Shirley. So I'm about 75% through. The little one is back down for a nap, and Sammy, the 8-year-old, is in the other room watching The Office. So I tore myself away from The Office so I could get a bit more Shirley time in. So I'm really wanting to finish this within the next few days. So I'm snug here on the couch with a couple of doggies. There's the other one. My mom just went out, so Heidi, the little one, is hanging out with me as well. So since we last saw you, we've got to know Shirley more. Quite a bomb has dropped as well, more in Caroline's life. And we've kind of seen a different side of Shirley as well. She seemed like such the perfect friend before. And we're seeing a bit more like moodiness from her. And she's not been as forthright of a friend as Caroline would wish her to be. So she certainly has kind of lost her luster a bit. But it's getting really interesting. And Robert Moore's brother Lewis is now a big part of the story as well. And kind of the chapter I'm on right now, or I'm about to start, is called Lewis Moore. And he's been a big part of the last chapter too as well. So I'm really, really enjoying this, and I'm at that point where, especially with a long book, I'm really enjoying it, but I also want to be done with it. Like, I want to see where the story is going, but also because it's such a long book and it's a long classic, I just I want to check it as done, but at the same time, super, super enjoying it. I've been watching a bit of BookTube today, and I was watching the live show that Kate Howe did on not Wuthering Heights, on Jane Eyre, and super enjoyed that. I listened to the audiobook of Jane Eyre at the beginning of the month, so it's like fresh in my mind. So yeah, I'm just loving the Victober that I'm getting to enjoy. I don't get to read as much as I used to because I have to work a lot more than I used to. So I was hoping to be able to get Frankenstein in, and it's just not going to happen. And then I'm not going to rush myself to finish The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I haven't read another story from that since I ended the last vlog. So I think I've only read 4 stories in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but that's where we are right now, and I'm going to get back to some reading. So I love the way that she uses the breaking of the fourth wall in the addressing the reader to move in and out of third person and first person. So we had just gone from third person and basically describing Lewis Moore as being the only one at the house right now at Shirley's house. She uses the Dear Reader to move into his first-person narration as he's writing in his journal or in his diary. So she says, the third-person narrator says, "Come near, by all means, reader. Do not be shy. Stoop over his shoulder fearlessly and read as he scribbles." And then it goes into quotations and Lewis Moore's firsthand account. So I like the way that she does that in and out of the book. And I don't read, because I just listened to Jane Eyre on audiobook, I didn't really catch that, and I know she uses the Dear Reader device, but I can't remember if she uses it in that same way because I wasn't reading it physically. But I just noticed that, and I really like the way she does that. Decoration. No what? Oh.
Oh my gosh! I didn't know a plant could do this to me.
Ow!
Ow! I mean, Charlie's probably like, ow, that tickles. But like, how?
Huh?
I love boo-boo.
Morning, friends. Charlie, can you see it?
Is it a turtle? Ta-da! You see that giant rock with feet and legs and a head, Charlie? That's what I kind of picture a turtle.
He's busy eating. He doesn't want to see us. Hey, man.
That was, and the things that they were asked to do.
Good job.
That was, again, this is highly,
Woo.
prejudicial.
What?
No.
Good job. You made circles.
This romantic relationship that she formed with
Can you do a circle?
Turkey, Ulvi, and that relationship
Good job.
is very tumultuous.
Good job,
and
yeah.
Probably abusive. A riff on finances. Sort of
Good job.
Baby.
more traditional than anyway. And everybody in here is like nobody perfect.
No,
Everybody has flaws.
mine.
And I think
That one's yours?
Charlie
Okay.
does so well. He renders his characters you know, you don't,
What's he eating?
you can see the humanity in everybody, and you can see why people do
Is he eating his toy?
and you can see how flawed everybody is, and how they're just
Yeah.
trying to put themselves in the story. The one thing I will
He's
say
eating a
is
C?
is
It does look like a C, huh?
prejudicial toward Jewish people.
That's his C toy.
Really kind of
That's his toy that looks like a C.
at times. So
Good job.
be aware of it.
I just finished Shirley. It was lovely. Very happy with the ending. I could have actually done for a little bit longer of an ending, even a little bit more time given to the way that it wrapped up. But I'm very, very pleased with it. And I absolutely love this. Right now, I'm feeling 5 stars. Plot-wise, it's very, very tame and subtle, like compared to Jane Eyre. It's very much character driven, but I really like that. I just loved it, and it was one that I kept wanting to get back to. So yeah, I'm thrilled with Shirley. Okay, so it's now just after 9 on Halloween morning. I am dressed as a golfer because I am leaving in about a half an hour to go golf. So yeah, I finished Shirley and absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I think that if you were a really big fan of Jane Eyre and you liked the plot, how plotty it is, and there's multiple locations and kind of time periods. There's a lot of time movement, character movement, location movement that's very different from Shirley. It takes place really kind of between 2 households mainly. We have, it's actually historical fiction because, you know, this was written in the 1830s, I believe. And it actually takes place in 1811 and 1812. So she's writing about past history. And I read in some of the notes in the beginning, it talks about how she did that because she didn't feel like she had a good enough grasp on kind of the politics of the day and the current affairs in order to be able to write intelligently about it. And so she wrote about the past, which she felt more comfortable doing. Where Jane Eyre is very much focused on Jane and in her world. Shirley is much more focused on Caroline and Shirley and then and the characters that they're with, but very much with the global situation at hand, and then the effect that that has on the local economics, and that is very much a part of the plot. So I really enjoyed it. And one thing I think just from, well, I find Charlotte Bronte very readable, but also it might just be that I'm becoming more comfortable reading classics in general, particularly Victorian classics. I was just thinking back to, I was watching somebody's vlog. Somebody was doing Fortnite Frights read along or readathon. And so they're talking about reading scary books, and it got me thinking of, I think 2 years ago, my first ever Victober in 2018, I read The Turn of the Screw, and I know it's some people's like favorite book, and I didn't super love it, but I think I just kind of had a hard time digesting it because of the language. But I think I'm just getting more comfortable with reading classic literature. The other thing I didn't really talk about was I was listening, dropping things. I was listening to the audiobook of Ken Follett's The Evening and the Morning. And so this is a prequel, basically, the first chronologically in the Kingsbridge series, the prequel to, pick up my book I dropped, the prequel to Pillars of the Earth, which Pillars of the Earth is my favorite book. I've read it twice now. This was not my favorite in the Kingsbridge series. So this is now the fourth book in that series. And it takes place the last few years of the 900s and the first handful of years in the 1000s. And it just didn't do much for me. I mean, I think I have to give it like 2.5 stars really. I still like the storytelling of Ken Follett. There seemed to be less kind of objectionable gender situations than in Pillars of the Earth, but I just wasn't that connected to the characters. I'm very connected to the characters in Pillars of the Earth, and I wasn't really so in The Evening and the Morning. So I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It is a really chunky book, so it's not necessarily one, unless you just really love Ken Follett and the Kingsbridge series. I probably wouldn't really go out of my way to read it. I'm glad I listened to it on audiobook. It was one of those lucky day from Libby, my library app. So I didn't even have to use an Audible credit on it, and I'm happy about that. So and then the last thing I want to do is just show you some books that I ended up buying. I meant to do this the other day, but I was busy running errands and I was trying to fit a bunch of things in a short period of time, so I never talked about what I picked up. So I was taking some a box of books to the local used bookstore that weren't sold in my parents' garage sale, and they've been in my car for 3 weeks at this point. And so of course I had to look around, and I picked up a few things. So that annoying noise, by the way, is my dog chewing on a toy. Yeah. Anyway, so I picked up Elizabeth Strout's My Name is Lucy Barton. Elizabeth Strout wrote Olive and Olive Again, which I really loved. And I heard her, I think after I read Olive, I was watching an interview with her on YouTube. And she mentioned this book. And then there's a follow-up book, a tie-in kind of book, I think, that goes along with this. So I want to read more Elizabeth Strout. Got Willa Cather's O Pioneers. This was her first novel. Never read any Willa Cather, but it's one of those authors that's kind of been on my radars. I've heard other people talk about her, and I believe this is about kind of going west and really being a pioneer. I think it takes place in Nebraska, which I was actually born in Nebraska. And I think it's just about kind of setting up a homestead, I guess. I don't know, maybe the American dream kind of thing. And it's under 200 pages, so I thought that might be a good one to start off with. And then I found just a really beautiful Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition of Persuasion by Jane Austen, which I have not yet read. And then I have Conjure Woman by Afia Adekora. And finding a new release hardback at a used bookstore is jackpot. And I had just seen somebody read this in a vlog. I don't remember who it was, but someone had just read this and they really loved it. And I don't remember really anything about what it is, but I think there's some kind of like mild magical realism going on here. So that's a little mini book haul for you. And then I just started yesterday reading How the Irish Saved Civilization. And this is for my book club. We meet on Friday the 13th, actually. This book and another book that I think I might have talked about actually earlier in the vlog, but when I got some book mail. And it's the untold story of Ireland's heroic role from the fall of Rome to the rise of medieval Europe. So I've just read the first like 25 pages or so, and there was this period after the fall of Rome where like all of these important historical documents and religious documents and everything were being like burned and destroyed because of the fall of Rome. And then there were like these monks in Ireland living in these little like stone hut kind of things that were like recording all of this history and like copying it down and everything. And so they very much were responsible for kind of preserving a lot of history and Christianity's history. And I think it was in the introduction, he talks about there are a lot of books talking about the classical period and the medieval period, but not much talking about the actual transition between the two. And so that's what he aims to do here in this book. So we'll be talking about this in my book club. And so that's all I'm reading right now. Thank you for watching. See you around the tubes.